I'm Helen Norbury, and this is Becoming Unapologetically Me, the show all about authentic self-expression with expert guests from the fields of health, leadership, and mindset. This show is here to show you that you don't need to conform to the expectations that friends, family, and society have of you, and actually what we can unearth when we find the courage to become the unapologetic version of who we are. Grab a cup of coffee and get your notepad out for this week's episode. Hello, and welcome back to Becoming Unapologetically Me. So today I want to talk about a topic which I hear people talking about all the time, and it's something I feel really strongly about. So I thought I would come on today and have a conversation about this topic, and I'd love to know if it resonates with you. So often I'm talking to women in particular who will often say to me things like, yes, but it's too late for me. I missed my moment. It's too late to reinvent. I've just missed my chance at that version of my life. So even if there's something inside of them that's really whispering at their soul and giving them more than a nudge, a real sort of elbow in the ribs as to this is your direction, the way to go, it gets pushed away and silenced with the retort of it's too late. We missed our chance. So I really want to talk to that because the truth is that it isn't too late. You haven't missed your chance. And in fact, I'd maybe go so far as to say that if your kids are growing up now and the house is getting a little bit quieter, life's getting a little bit less hectic, and you're looking around and asking that question of what now? Maybe now is the perfect time. Maybe you haven't missed the boat. You're not too late. Maybe you're right on time. You're where you should be. And maybe this is how it was all meant to be right from the beginning, even if the stories that we were brought up with maybe didn't agree with that so much. So I know I was definitely brought up with the story that there's a drumbeat to follow through your life. So you go to school, you do your A-levels, you go to university, you finish university, you meet someone, you settle down, you have children, career, whichever way around that works. And then you stay there until you're 65 or 67 and you retire, and then you live out your retirement. And there was very much an expected beat and pattern to how my life would map out and evolve. And I suppose that started me thinking from a very early age of even, oh gosh, I'm late to have children because I was into my 30s and that was too late in inverted commas compared to what the expectations were or what the thoughts of how it would map out would be. And the reality is that in the same way that 31 was not too late to have children, nor is 40 too late to change your career direction, or 50 or 60 or any age that suits you. And it really is a myth. Who decided that these were the timescales and the drum beats that we should all work to? I think buying a house was a really big one of those milestones on that pattern and that drum beat. So I definitely felt a lot of pressure to buy a property. And I've said to friends recently that if I went back and had my time again, I wouldn't necessarily have bought property at that point because I'm definitely what I would call a free spirit. And I love being able to travel. And maybe if I didn't own property, I would travel more because I wouldn't be tied to one place in the same way. And so it's really interesting that when you have the benefit of experience and just knowing what you want and how you want your life to map out and really what's important to you, what values are most strong for you, when you have the benefit of knowing that, maybe your decisions would have mapped out a little differently. So maybe those dreams that were hobbies or desires and they get filed under maybe someday, maybe now's the day to bring them out and to let them see the light of day. Maybe you needed to have life experiences and understand yourself better and to see how life helped to shape you. Maybe you needed all of that before those dreams became more relevant or more prevalent for you. And it was a better time to bring them out into the open. As I mentioned, lots and lots of times through my life where different moments I felt I was too late, whether that was having children, whether that was buying a house, whether it was changing into my current self-employment away from a corporate career. All of those have filled me with fear at some level in the moment. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do if I've missed this boat? Will my life be a failure at some level? And I've really had to sit with myself with that and be honest about where the fear is coming from as well, because they were never my timescales. And so when I could realize that they were other people's perspectives, opinions, ideas as to how my life should shape up, and sure, they were not saying it to be detrimental to me in any way. They wanted all the people who were saying these things to me, they wanted the best for me. And the best that they thought for me was what they thought was the best for them. And so that then was projected onto me. And so when I could understand that what's best for them is not necessarily what's best for me, then I could help that fear to drop away a little bit and to allow everything to unfold in the right timescales. Not my timescales, not anyone else's timescales, but just as they were meant to be. And I speak every day to so many women who have so much of their life left to live, but they're waiting for clarity, permission, or confidence. It's one of the most common things. When this happens, then I'll do this. And thinking that it's going to come through the postbox with a little bow attached to it, finally giving you the permission to do the thing that you want to do. The reality is not like that. Maybe the moment is right now, right here, and this can be the beginning. I think one of the best indicators is who else has done this? Who else is doing this? And when we can see other people, particularly those people in the public eye, and see that they're already doing the thing that we've maybe told ourselves that we're not able to do, or we're not capable of doing, or when it doesn't work for us, we're not confident enough, whatever the stories are that are going around your head, when we can see other people who've already broken those down, it starts to make it more accessible. I mean, the 4-minute mile is a classic example of that, whereby it was deemed impossible until it was done. And then suddenly all of these people come out of the woodwork, all able to suddenly run a 4-minute mile. Don't get me wrong, I'm not one of them. But as soon as we gave permission, in inverted commas, to run a 4-minute mile, before you knew it, loads and loads of people, relatively speaking, could do it. Whereas the week before, no one was able to hit that target. So it's really interesting. When we see those examples, we can start to give permission to ourselves. Oh, look, it is possible. So I've been looking into some of these and I thought I'd share some with you today. So Viola Davis, she's one of my favorite actresses. Absolutely love her. However, she didn't land her breakthrough film role until she was in her 40s. So she'd done lots and lots of theatre and smaller parts. But when she was in her 40s, she starred in a film called Doubt and has since become an Oscar winner and a massive advocate for women, for race equity, and for healing generational trauma. And I highly recommend her book if you haven't already read it. So a great example of someone who was just waiting in the wings for her time. And maybe she had to go through all of those experiences up until her 40s to really learn what her purpose was, and maybe had the visibility for her arrived at exactly the right moment when she was most ready to use her voice. She may have said in her 30s, "Oh, I'm ready now." But maybe it just needed a little bit more experience, a little bit more perspective before it was absolutely her right time. Brene Brown, someone else I've also spoken about on this podcast, massive fangirl of Brene Brown. And if you are committed to personal development, I think you would struggle to have gone through life and not heard of Brene Brown. She's such a household name for people in the personal development world. So she had her viral TED talk on vulnerability, but that didn't happen until she was in her mid-40s. And she's now built an absolutely global movement rooted in authenticity, having been the person in the background doing her quiet academic research. She's now written so many books, amazing books, bestsellers, an amazing podcast. Everything is absolutely fantastic. So when you stop hiding your story, you create that space for others to heal too, whatever age it comes at. So maybe now is the time for you to stop hiding your story and to get on your stage, whether it's a TED Talk or whether it's on your social media platforms or even in your local community. What does that look like? And how do you help others heal through openly sharing who you are and what your story is? Vera Wang is another one, the fashion designer. Didn't design her first wedding dress until she was I think she was 40 or in her 40s. And she was a figure skater and a Vogue editor before that. But now I think every woman getting married, wanting to wear the white dress, will look at least at a Vera Wang dress on that journey. And again, it just shows there's no expiration date to your reinvention. It's just a point at which you make a decision to say, now is my time. And I could go on and on with examples like this. Oprah Winfrey is another one. And while she had a successful career in TV, was really finding her purpose much later around building a platform for soul growth, advocacy, and conscious conversation that came much, much later. Success can look and feel different for different people and for you as well. And again, I have my own experience of this with a successful corporate career, which just didn't feel successful. And it was only when I reinvented myself and redefined my feelings of success that I found that true fulfillment. And I was able to live out my purpose or start living out my purpose. I'm a long way from finishing it. So maybe your soul is just waiting for significance. I think what's really interesting to explore, though, as well, is it's very easy to say, it's too late, I'm too old, I missed the boat, I missed my chance. Those are pretty easy words to say, but is that really what you mean? Or do you mean, I don't know where to start? I'm afraid I'll fail. I've been invisible for so long, I don't know who I am anymore. Maybe if you've spent years and years of putting other people first, raising kids, showing up in your career at work or relationships that didn't reflect your worth, it would make perfect sense for your confidence to feel shaky just to not even put too fine a point on it. Shaky might be a good day. But the reality is that let's get clear on what's actually stopping us, because I think we've already established in just a few minutes that we can completely blow out of the water the story that it's too late or we're too old or anything like that. So let's be honest with ourselves about what the real challenge is about taking that step. I get it. I really do. You have a really different set of responsibilities by the time you've got children, you've got a mortgage, you've got a rent agreement, you've got all of these things that have stacked up through your life. And you can't just walk away from those and rip everything up in your world as you know it and plan to start again without really knowing what you're doing, how you're doing it, or even if you are going to be able to make it. But the truth is, there's so much information available now. You're never going to be doing whatever it is that you want to do, you're never going to be doing it on your own. I struggle to think of something that no one has done yet, something so brand new that no aspect of it has ever been covered before. And you would literally be breaking new ground and you couldn't find anything out about how to get support with that or how to do such and such part of that. The truth is that we're all a slightly different version of a very similar thing. And that gives us a whole load of confidence because there's a lot of information available to us and freely available to us. It's not even like the days when I was growing up and you have to go to the library and get the librarian to get the microfiche out and try and find out the pieces of information that you need. We all have phones, laptops, connection to Wi-Fi, AI, internet, all sorts of different ways that we can connect to the information and the knowledge that we need to take the next step for us. And you're never starting from scratch. You have wisdom from your years of experience. You've got experience. And I know if you're listening to this, that you are a really powerful person, even if you might have currently forgotten how much you already are carrying. So this moment, this clearing out of the space, is really sacred. We may not have everything figured out. That's okay. But now we've got some space. We've got room. And when we have space, that's when our creativity can really activate. I've often shared how I always have my best ideas when I go for a walk in my local woods. Now, I may have joked that they are magical woods because they always bring these amazing ideas into my head. But the truth is they're not magical woods. What happens when I go to those woods is that I can switch off from the racing around the hamster wheel that is happening on a regular basis, or doing the next piece of work, or the next thing that the kids need, or whatever life is bringing in that particular moment. When I go to the woods, I can unplug from that. In unplugging from it, create space in my head for the ideas to flow in. It's no surprise at all then that as I'm walking around the woods, all these ideas are popping off in my head, and it's just an amazing place to be. So no, not magic woods, but room to breathe, room to choose, to imagine and to create a life that's built around your values, not just your responsibilities. And yes, we have those responsibilities, but can we design a life that builds around who we are at our core rather than around our mortgages, our other responsibilities to animals, children, communities, etc. You've already spent years being everything for everyone. So how about a chapter that is about being everything for you? I know that can seem scary. Oh gosh, what if people think I'm selfish? But actually, what that unlocks in you when you put yourself at the center of your world and you put your needs and your desires and your fulfillment at the heart of everything you do, it unlocks something in you that allows you to show up so much more fully for all of the other people in your life. So your children see more of you, not more in time, but more perspective of you, more dimensions of you. Your partner does, your community does. Anybody that you interact with will suddenly start to see a bigger, more fulfilled, more depth person than the one that they knew before, who was just there serving everybody else. And I know all the voices in your head that say, oh, but that's selfish, or, but I'm a nice person, so I just like to do everything for everyone. Get it. I really get it. Putting you at the center, just see what that feels like, and the way that you can show up for all of those other people in your life when you do it from that place. You're never too old to start something new. You're perfectly seasoned and you can do it with intention, and do it with intention in a way that isn't against other people. You're choosing for you. And in choosing for you, you actually benefit everybody else as well. So if this is resonating, but you're thinking, okay, Helen, nice idea, but where do I begin? What I would suggest is maybe like my magic words. Start with some self-connection. So we don't need to rush this. There's no deadlines on when you must have this completed. So really spend some time with yourself, away from the other daily pressures, rushes. Really give yourself space, whether it is at home or whether it is in the woods or somewhere else that feels good to you. I know the beach would be another place that I feel really expansive in, which would be a lovely place for me to do this exercise. But to really start to journal, like walk inside of yourself, listen. What lights you up? What drains you? What are the voices and the nudges that have been there and that you've pushed away and told to be quiet, or don't even raise your voice because there's nothing we can do about you? What are those things? What do you crave more of in your day? If you can start to come to a place where you're dreaming and imagining what your perfect day would look like, not a holiday day, but an every single day of your life day, what would that look like? What would it have? What would it not have? How would you be in that way? Who would be the other people in that as well? Let go of the timeline. That's not important. There's no right age to have a dream. Your clarity doesn't even need to be perfect on this point. It's just about being powerful, feeling really connected to that vision, that purest version of who you are at your core before you were told you can't do this or you're too old to do that. Women don't do this. You shouldn't do that. You've got kids, that's not appropriate. All of those stories, behind all of them, who are you? And then once we've got that, we can take the next gentle step. Doesn't need to be a giant leap forwards. We can take little shuffles in the right direction. Just allow those voices inside you to be heard and to feel like they also matter and that they're an important part of who you are. So maybe whilst you've got your journal out, you could have a moment to reflect and to journal around a question like, what would my future self thank me for starting today? What can you do today? A little step in the right direction of finding that truest, most authentic version of who you are. So none of this is about proving anything. I don't do any of what I do. This podcast is not to prove anything. I do it because I love it. And I do it because, to me, it's about coming home, about coming back to your voice, back to your values, back to that quiet part of you that just knows there's more inside of you, more to explore, more to unlock, more to give the world. I believe that when you're a servant leader or in service to other people, that you want to unlock as much of you as you possibly can. Yes, it gives you fulfillment, but it also changes other people's lives as well. As long as it's locked inside of you, it's not really helping anybody. But as soon as we can help it to find the light of day, then that's when really the change starts to happen. And as I said, it can happen when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. It doesn't matter when it happens, as long as it does happen. And so if you're really listening today and thinking, oh, I want to do this, I want to unlock this thing, I'd love to walk that journey with you. It's something that I feel so passionately about. I think having experienced that life that looked all good from the outside, the career that was racing up the ladder, ticking all the right boxes along the way, having experienced that and the emptiness inside of living a life that looked good but didn't feel good, and feeling guilty for not feeling able to call that out because this map that I had been given was not really working for me. It's why the work that I do is so important to me, because I know what it feels like to have that emptiness, even though on the outside everything looks amazing. And then to take the steps and to completely change everything such that the feelings inside are feelings of fulfillment, pride in what I do, happiness in the lives that I get to change, and utter gratitude for the amazing people that I get to work with. So I really want you to take away from today that your next chapter is not about surviving or seeing anything out. It really is about thriving, whatever age you are, and getting your mindset, your nervous system, and your strategy all lined up to support you with that. That's what makes me give me the warm and fuzzy feelings every single day in what I get to do. So please remember, you haven't missed your moment. You are the moment right here, right now. So I really want to thank you for being with me today. And if this episode made you feel seen, then please drop me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn, Helen Norbury. I always love hearing from you and hearing your biggest takeaways from these sessions. And if you feel a little flicker of hope and possibility inside of you right now, that's amazing. It's not random. It's you waking up to all of who you are. So go out there and become the most unapologetic version of who you are. No guilt, no apology, just you finally owning it. Thank you for listening to this episode of Becoming Unapologetically Me. Make sure you subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts so you never miss an episode.